Hi, I'm Miriam Ursilia from 4A Center for Contemporary Asian Art.
And today I'll be reading my letter from the editor from the new issue of 4A Papers, issue 10. Online now.
Utter the word baliktad. Notice how your tongue bangs the roof. A mouthy thud that hydrates the word brings it to life. In my native tongue of Tagalog, baliktad translates to upside down or inside out, to reverse or invert. Another way to digest this: to go baliktad is to retreat, be unsequenced, to block the way. Spin around your own axis, swallow your words, turn over a new skin, a new leaf, a new leaf. For instance, we become baliktad when we peel away from our ancestral homelands and scatter across foreign soil to seek work, for adventure, to connect with families, for survival. All the while, we wrestle with that tension of displacement and assimilation. We feel baliktad, effaced, minimized, each time our names are misspelled or mispronounced. And we go baliktad when the languages that throned our infancy begin to fade away, replaced by adopted vernacular. But in true flip-flop form, baliktad can unfold or refold in the same way that bodies shapeshift and minds reassemble. We employ and maintain baliktadness by choosing radicality over consensus. We code switch and invent loanwords. We harbor familiar traditions, commingling these with newfound ways of living. For diasporic people, to be baliktad is to survive. On that note, at a recent gallery meeting, a few of us deliberated the enunciation of diaspora, cue rigorous tongue laps in the keys of diaspora, diaspora, diaspora. Though I suppose if there is one word that should remain unfixed, it is this: a neocultural idiom that webs nations with the sea, cradled in the mouths of the people who roam. Diaspora unfurls. It speaks with a multi-voice spirit, much like baliktad. For the 10th issue of 4A Papers, we explore ideas of home through a baliktad lens, summoning the elements of fire, air, water, and land. Our 5 contributors uncover new stories about planetary care, nationhood, family dynasties, and collective authorship. Liora Joy Jones dissects the cosmic-driven themes that power the 2020 Taipei Biennial. You and I don't live on the same planet. As worlds spin, fracture, and heal, Jones considers novel and historical modes of hyperconnectivity, sustainability, eco-crisis, and globalization through the minds of artists working at the coalface of planetary concerns. From land to sea, we plunge into choppy sapphire coast waters with Matt Chun's hypertext essay. Ferried by a patrilineal energy that once sailed this ocean, Chun laps back to land, coughing up seawater and ancestral ghosts with newfound resolve. Across the Pacific, we revisit the aftermath of the fire that scorched the Quezon City premises of the Philippines' longest running artist-led initiative, Green Papaya Art Projects, just as co-founder Norberto Pee-wee Roldan planned to retire the 20-year-old organization. What follows is a diaristic account of preserving a living archive, group authored by Green Papaya's Yuji de Torres, Iris Ferrer, Norberto Roldan, Tuki Roldan, Jel Suarez, and Dominic Zrampan. Elsewhere, clay histories and Taiwanese nationhood are explored by Annette Anjan Lu through her homeland experience and musings with ceramicist Ruth Zhishi Li. Also in Taiwan, the evolving practices of artists Yu Chu Chen, Su Mitsu, Wang Xiangling, and Meng Jane Wu are spotlit by Hugh Hudson, through a string of video interviews that offer insight into the future of photo media. Dispatched from Quezon City, New York, Taipei, Rimagui, and Gadigal land, these acute profiles remind us that, yes, you and I don't live in the same planet, but we can all have a shared sense of what home means. With that, I come full circle with the Tagalog Franken word, balikbayan. Smishing return with balik and home with bayan. Its meaning is twofold. It is customary for overseas Filipino workers to send balikbayan boxes to their families in the Philippines. Material culture laced with love, connection, and longing, packed in cardboard and freighted home. Millions of Filipinos in the diaspora who left our archipelago to pepper the world are referred to as balikbayans. As a balikbayan who migrated to Australia age 15, I am one of over 310,000 Pinoy migrants who call this nation our second home, or pangalawan bahay. This invites a question: what does balikbayan mean now to a child of diaspora? What is balikbayan in a COVID-laced world? How do you balikbayan? It's a verb too. If you can't or aren't permitted to leave your adopted country or re-enter home soil. Likewise, what happens when you return to a territory that you no longer recognize, a region destabilized, colonized, terrorized, geopolitically renamed? Perhaps by being baliktad, to reintroduce this paradox, we can find a way to exist in the dualism of belonging and unbelonging. Because if there's anything this global pandemic has taught us, it's that this disease transcends borders. It leaps across states, demographics, and class structures. Living cells that swarm, mutate, extrapolate, recolonize, much like the beehive brain that infiltrates the cover of our current issue. So we must then reskin this word, rematriate its spirit. Balikbayan is, after all, a call back to land. For traditional owners, it's the return of country. Because wherever in the world we find ourselves in today, our feet will always be oriented towards the echoes of motherland. Baliktad, baliktad. This is how we land back home. 4A Papers is published by 4A Center for Contemporary Asian Art on the unceded lands of the Gadigal people. I'd like to send my warmth and respect to any First Nations people who are tuning in and acknowledge the descendants of the first artists and writers and creators of this island nation. Visit 4a.com.au to explore the stories in our 10th issue of 4A Papers. We'd love to know what you think.